Greetings and salutations, Dave Duford here on the DIG Agency. We're doing it live. It is July 7th, 2025. It's a pleasure to have you to another Ask Me Anything educational live stream, specifically designed really for any agent, but more so for the newer folks out there who are looking for insight on a career selling life insurance or really any insurance product that you're curious in. So here's the format of what to expect for today's program. You bring the questions, you post them in the chat, I read them, and then I respond in as much information and with as much detail as humanly possible. My sole goal here is to help you out, regardless if you're going to join my company or not. So bring your questions, post them. All questions are absolutely happy to be answered. So you can have questions about maybe sales-based questions, handling objections, overcome objections, scripting, tech questions related to selling insurance successfully. Maybe have agency questions, carrier product questions. Anything and everything is absolutely happy to be listed here. So just throw your questions in the chat and I will happily get to them. So I'll usually like to have some kind of training here in the beginning. So we'll go into a couple of things. First of all, I'm excited to share with you my quick vacation. I had the what I would call the vacation of a lifetime. We went to Switzerland for 2 weeks. This is actually the second time in 2 years that we've been back, because the first time we went to Switzerland, my wife got on the plane. This is last year. And she immediately started complaining about stomach problems. And I was like, you'll be all right. So we get there. We toured the Rhine Falls, which is north of Zurich, close to the German border. And she's like, man, I'm not feeling good. And I'm like, it's no big deal. So by the third day, she's in excruciating pain. It's obvious there's a problem. We go to the Swiss version of a doc in the box, wait like 4 hours. And then they say, you've got all the signs of an appendix ready to rupture. And so we're in another country. We show up at the emergency room, and they proceed to do surgery the following morning and pull the bad boy out. She's laid up in a hospital for 3 or 4 days, recovering while we're on this anniversary trip. And thankfully, the staff was super nice. Some of the best nursing I've ever received. Or my wife's ever received. She's actually has a pacemaker, has had all sorts of health issues. You wouldn't know it looking at her. She's drop dead gorgeous and doesn't seem to show any health issues, but she's had her fair share. The staff was great. My one biggest complaint, though, over there is the hospital. You're in a bed with 3 other patients. Well, not in bed with 3 other patients, but in the room with 3 other patients. And there's no air conditioning. So you can imagine late June, it's in the 80s, and it's just terrible. No air, AC. Otherwise, they saved their life. I'm happy about that. So what am I really complaining about? And so we had to go back. So this time we brought the kids. It was a real nice time. I was going to share with you in case you are interested. You may not be, but too bad. What it was like. So here it is. We brought my son along. He's here jumping off of a bridge. He likes doing crazy stuff like that. He's 15. And it was great. We had lots of fun. We actually went to. Do you guys remember Band of Brothers? This is Interlaken. This is where they filmed the last episode of Band of Brothers. It was supposed to be Austria after Hitler gave up or about gave up, and then he was holed up in, I guess, the Eagle's Nest. And so they filmed it here, and there was a hotel here. It's just this hotel here. Was where it was filmed at. If you remember, this is where they took up station, and it was a real beautiful place, just incredible. Highly recommend it. Very expensive, but one of those kind of once in a lifetime things. So I was glad to do it. Nobody got hurt or had any sudden diseases or illnesses. So of course I was happy about that as well. So as you have your questions getting going here, feel free to throw them in the chat. I will get to them shortly. The one last thing I wanted to share with you is kind of if you're on my email list or you read my post today, We had an agent last week who's on the newer side, less than 6 months with us at the DIG Agency. He wrote 16 policies, but the cool thing about it is he did it in a 40-hour work week, which is pretty incredible, which means he closed one sale every 2.5 hours. It took me back in the day when I was closing at that kind of rate, probably 80 hours running between home to home, putting wear and tear in my car, dealing with, level 5 cat ladies and dogs trying to bite at you, and God knows what smells that are just unreproducible, thank goodness. So the point is, in sharing that, is an incredible feat by this agent named Darian. And the way that he accomplished this, of course, he's naturally talented. But one of the things I don't really talk well enough, and I probably should, and this is kind of the main motivation, is the guy that just has everything from a character standpoint. A lot of people do very well teaching this business. I'm just one of many. But one of the things that is really important that I hope you take away from this kind of story I'm sharing is the importance of having the right mindset, the right character about self-improvement and about applying yourself and taking action. Because that's one of the things that's really hard for an agency or a trainer to teach, is the embodiment of the character that you have. And to get more specific, what makes this agent great, and I think largely responsible for his success, is that he doesn't take constructive criticism personally. We certainly, like every agency over the years, have had agents who get personally offended when they're told they're doing something wrong and they need to fix it, and it sounds bad. This agent has never taken anything personally. To the best of my knowledge, he actually takes it and applies it, even though he may not fully understand it, on the essence of faith. And lo and behold, it actually works. So it doesn't get shared enough because there's always the secret scripts you're supposed to learn, or the magical leads. Of course, there are many scripts that work. There are many leads that work. But really the biggest thing that, you can take away from this is, if you want to write a lot of business, no matter if it's with Final Expense, another agency, doesn't matter, you've got to have the right mindset. You've got to put in the time, and you've got to be coachable. I can't stress this enough. The person that just accepts that they will take coaching and apply it and not question it or get mad about it or angry is going to shorten their learning curve incredibly. And that was one of the big things. Of course, I'm a big believer in our systems. We have some of the best leads in the business, all produced in-house. Some of the best dialing systems, where a lot of our business is done in the context of... Whoops, that was wrong. In the context of we scrub the numbers, you get more connections, up to 300% compared to other dialers, which is imperative if you're going to do any kind of remote sales. And of course, we train our people to death. We have AI sales call reviews for every one of our agent sales calls. We have an AI role play bot that acts like the customer, gives you pushback and resistance, so that you have the ability to practice your objections. And we have actually trainers that listen to your call as you're on there, which may sound invasive or concerning, but they'll tell you, like, hey, build more rapport, say this line to really solidify things. And again, if you have the right mindset with it, what invariably happens is that you get more results from it. And so we really try very hard to be the best opportunity for agents that are out there. Of course, a shameless plug for the DIG Agency. If you want to find out more, ask questions in the chat, or just go to daviddufour.com. There's an overview video that's just incredibly effective at answering a lot of the basic questions about how our company works, what we require for you to join, so on and so forth. Okay, so let's get into your questions here. Again, if you're just joining us, this is our Ask Me Anything live stream. You can ask me anything about insurance sales and marketing, anything about my company. Happy to shamelessly plug what we do. All right, thank you, Living Life. My wife asks the same question all the time. Just kidding. When you've been married for, God, almost 20 years, you don't ask anymore. Okay, how are the commissions? The commissions are great. So we're a free lead agency at the DIG Agency. I'm assuming you're asking about us, Craig. If you're asking about just in general, let me know. But with us, they're smaller than what you would get if you're buying your own leads. But my argument, my sales pitch to you, the agent, is that the process of selling Final Expense remotely requires more advanced systems and better quality leads than what you probably are going to find on your own. And I think leveraging a system, especially in the beginning, to take a smaller commission than what you would get if you were handling the cost of the leads, allows you the opportunity to learn the business, to learn how to sell, to take away some of that risk, and certainly the stress that comes from spending a significant amount of money every week on leads, so that you can give yourself the best shot of success. I think for 90% of the agents out there, starting off that way, yes, at a smaller commission, but much lower risks as far as not wasting money on leads or figuring out where to even get them, is a great way to get started in the business and learn the business without worrying about, the lead side, the dialer system side, et cetera, because that's all something I've spent an enormous amount of money and time on building, as well as my team. Hey, Yemi, I've submitted most contract and paperwork. How much capital would one need for agency building after a year if interested? It's hard for me to answer that because all of my agency building comes from a YouTube channel, and it's essentially cost-free. I'm not spending money on Indeed or ZipRecruiter. I've never done that model, so I don't know anything about it, or even if it works very well. So what I do know that works is social media, and that's something I'm willing to teach people who are willing to do it. I've taught a lot of different organizations who are or aren't a part of me how to do marketing online, or at least social media, to recruit agents. So it's something I'm confident I could teach somebody who's interested. All right. Good luck, Victoria or Alex. Good luck, good luck, good luck. Okay. Thank you, Yemi. Does bankruptcy, Stephen asks, disqualify you from joining the DIG agency? No, not at all. It depends on when the bankruptcy occurred. I remember at one point, I would say 1 out of 4, maybe 1 out of 5 of our agents had a bankruptcy at one point. This was after the Great Recession. So a lot of people lost their homes, lost their jobs or businesses, and were in financial stress about 2013 through 15. So bankruptcies were a much higher occurrence. So if they've been discharged, it's usually pretty simple to get you appointed. If you're going through one, it may not be as simple. It's something we'll definitely try to work with you on. But if it's in the proceedings, it's a little different than if it's already been discharged. But more often than not, it's not a problem. Hey, Madi, I wanted to ask, does the U.S. cross-border account work for receiving commissions? Well, the problem with us is that we don't recruit internationally, and you have to be stateside in order to work with us. And the reason being is that the software we use for our dialer is very internet intensive. And we have found that international agents who retain a U.S. residency, so they can be licensed agents, but then they're located overseas, there's significant latency and lag issues with talking to clients, and it just blows any type of opportunity to connect with these people. So in short, we just don't recruit people who aren't in the United States because our tech is just not suitable in most cases otherwise. So hopefully that answers that. Yes, level 5 Catley. Studio, glad to hear everything worked out for your vacation. Thank you. Sorry your wife had a health scare. Yeah, I know. It's like it's your anniversary trip. Geez, what was that? 24, married in 09. I think it was 09. Was it 09? 15 years? Yeah. Wow. Okay. Hey, Michael. Had multiple talks with Marty. The only thing holding me back is the contract transfer times. Why don't you go into a little bit more explanation? If you'd like to, Michael, maybe there's a way I can help you. If Marty probably told you everything, but who knows? You may want to reiterate what you told him. I'd be happy to give you some advice on moving carriers over. I'm sure you got like AmAm or Seco or Moo or Trinity stuck. If you want to let me know like details, like who it's with and how long it's been since you were in business, I can give you a timeline. Thank you, Craig. Yeah, we love coaching people. Anthony asked, David, how much servicing do you do for your clients, or do you have an account manager? Yeah, I'll give you, or do you work with to ensure accounts stay healthy, Medicare? Okay, so we don't do Medicare anymore. We used to. If you've seen some of my content, some of my Medicare content still pulls in views, but we're not actively recruiting agents to the Medicare market. I kind of saw the writing on the wall at the end of last year. The special election period was being threatened. Some of the kind of mainstay marketing practices that were very mainstream and could support a lot of agents were going away. And now we have again, I'm not 100% in the know with Medicare, but I think United Healthcare is not paying new policy commissions in certain areas. There was the threat of removing some of the marketing money for Medicare. These are all things where ultimately Medicare, you can throw ACA in there. I'm about to do a video on why that market's totally gone. I'm happy to talk about it a little bit. But in short, whenever you do business in a semi-government good, you're going to have undulations where there's good times and there's really bad times. And ACA and Medicare just fit the bill. You're dealing with healthcare. Healthcare is a semi-private, semi-public good. It's influenced by who's in the White House and who is politically in charge. And the ACA is the perfect example. There were tons of benefits given out to get more people enrolled at more flexible times a year versus a once-a-year enrollment. And then they didn't even have to verify their income. They just said, oh, my income is this, and then they could get covered. So a lot of that's going away because there just isn't as much desire for that product and its ability to be sold with those kind of subsidies and ease of getting coverage. So the point of what I'm saying here, and sure, really just for everybody else, like we've gotten away from Medicare and ACA because of that. Incidentally, I think you're going to see a lot more interest in final expense because it is not a public good. It's private for now, hopefully for a while. But there's a lot more stability in the market. But back to your question. Okay, wait a minute. I lost it. I think I skipped some of your questions. If I did, I'll go back up. There it is. Okay. So we do, for final expense, if you guys are wondering, service is a part of any part of a sales, insurance sales business model. There's very little service work on final expense except calling people who miss their payments or responding back to concerns or confirming that they are ready to get their first payment processed. That's the extent of what we do for service. And we have tested out having a management team or kind of like a team of people separate from the agents to do that work. But what we've discovered is that it's just not as effective as having the actual agent who closed the deal to follow up on missed payments, but more specifically, I think, and arguably more importantly, the first payment and making sure that they're ready to be drafted for it and they're on board, et cetera. Part of it is just getting them to answer the phone. They answer the phone for the agent more often than not than if it was a team. So stuff like that has been how we've approached it, tested it, and it's just better. And I think in the interest of the agent to make sure that it's done in a way to make sure the client's on board with getting drafted and they're not confused. Okay. Thank you. Hourly moving labor. If a new agent chooses the 4-payment plan, does it have to be paid off completely? No, you can start after making the first payment. So you don't have to even wait for all 4. It's just come on aboard, set up the payment plan, the joining fee payment plan, and you can get started right away. Where can I find the AI role play bot? That is inside of the training site. So I don't know exactly where it is, but if you reach out to our trainers, they'll direct you to when you start using it. I believe the way we're using it now is we have you do it before you get on the dialer, like right before. So that means you've gone through all the training, role play on your own, rehearsal on your own, and you're ready to be on the bot to test it. It's like the final step before you get to the dialer. I think that's how it's done. Okay. Hey, David, 1 Peter 3:15. How should I pace myself to get through DIG University? I mean, at whatever pace you want. Everybody's different. We recruit part-timers, so they have other jobs and responsibilities, so that may be slower. My big thing, if I step back and think about like what's the most important, the most important is to get really good at the script, practice it a million times, understand how to complete applications for each carrier, understand how to use the dialer and CRM, and then how to use insurance toolkits to quote and underwrite. So in that order, from most important to least important, that's what you should feel competent in. That's the most important stuff. So make sure you're spending the majority of your time getting good at the script and understanding how to complete an application for sure. Hey, Patty, thanks for being here. C. Long. If we want to stop using the Freely program and pay for our leads that you are generating while still using your platform to dial, yeah, okay. What are the costs of the leads? What are the commission levels? So Commission levels depends on your actual production with us. They start at 100% and then go higher based off of actual production with us, all the way to 130%, depending on the carriers. The dialer is $425 a month. The CRM's $199 a month plus usage fees. What we pass along the cost. We don't mark the usage fees up, so it's pretty inexpensive. Leads are my recommendation for a full-time agent is $1,000 to $1,500 a week for leads. And the way that we would do that is we would either set you up internally through our lead management program or refer you out to somebody. We generally don't recommend buying leads, of course. They tend to be at a retail rate that's too high to support good CPAs, cost per acquisitions, meaning per sale, like what it costs in marketing spend to get a sale. It's better to self-gen or use a service. So there's different options there as far as what works best. So, I mean, I would be looking at a marketing expense to do it right of around $5,000 a month, and then probably an operational cost of another $1,000 or less, depending on usage on the CRM, texting mostly, the dialer, that kind of thing. All right. Who can I talk to? Craig? Talk to me. Oh, if you want more information about the agency, davidduford.com. Let me throw it in the chat. It's my name. davidduford.com. Watch the overview video, Craig. That's the best thing I would suggest. It's 50 minutes long, purposely long, because there's so much to know, and we don't like recruiting agents to just jump in and realize, well, this wasn't for me. So we want to lay it all out there, show you the good, bad, and the ugly. And there's nothing that's perfect in life, but I think what we do is really good. And so that way, by the time you apply, you're very confident, usually by the end of that video, if this is for you, or you've just discovered it isn't. And that's good. Rather not waste your time if it's not. All right. Why, Patty, hey, why do we have certain states and not others and limited to 6? Yeah, good question. So the reason we do that, Patty, is because, first of all, we don't want you spending a bunch of money on a bunch of states that aren't necessarily going to be used as much. So it helps save your total capital investment. The second reason is that from a marketing perspective, there are certain states that we get more leads from. And so we want our agents to be positioned from a licensing standpoint to be able to take the optimal amount of leads and work the optimal amount of leads. So it's a combination of both of those two things. You can definitely have other states if you already have them, and we'll put that into the system to get you leads. But if you don't have the core states that we recommend based off of your birthday, then that's going to seriously impede your ability to work at an optimal rate. So that's why we do it. We played with this a bunch over the years. We used to require 20 states. There's a time when we required 12. And now it's 6 because, again, we want to minimize the investment as much as possible, but then keep you as busy as much as possible. Good question. What dialer do you use? Hey, Living Life. We use Convoso. If you want to check out Convoso, do so. Now, the only thing with that is that you have to have 20 seats in order to get it. So we have a white label opportunity if you're a broker and you don't want to work with us. But you want the dialer. It's called digdialer.com. I just put it in the chat. You can sign up for that. It's worth every penny. It's expensive relative to other dialers, but it just does such a better job getting people to pick up the phone. All right. Continuing on here. Yeah, go to Prince, davidduford.com, scroll all the way down to the contact page and send me a message that way. Hey, Chris, just started the course for the test. Is the test hard? A lot of information. I don't know. I mean, I passed it on the first try. I test well, though. Not everybody tests well. If you're having problems testing, if you go to, again, another free resource. We used to charge for this, but we've made it free. It's called lifehealthexamcoach.com. It's not a pre-licensing test, but it's a compilation of free training that a friend in the business made available to you for free. You can sign up for an account there and just review it. It's information for all the states. Now, some of the state-specific stuff isn't included for whatever state you're in, but the rest of it is pretty relevant and consistent across the different states. So you can just go there, look at the study notes, watch some of the recorded Zoom calls, and maybe that'll help your comprehension of the material. It is lots to learn. But in short, you only need, in most cases, a 70% to pass. So that's not too hard. And then the pre-licensing exam, like examfx.com, they've got a pass guarantee. If you can get an 80% or better, I think, last I checked, they'll guarantee you'll pass the exam. And that's a good pre-licensing tool to use as well, which you have to do in order to take the test in most cases. Do you offer just, hey JC, do you offer just final expense? I want to offer mortgage protection, disability debt reduction. Great question. Right now, so I'll tell you a little bit about my philosophy of business. I think I would rather much be a specialist in the business than a generalist. In other words, I want to be really good as a company at one thing. And right now, that's final expense. It's what I grew up in the business selling. I understand it intimately. And I think that gives us the best opportunity to help more people be successful because of our depth in understanding that one thing. Now, with that said, we have had conversations, Tim and I, my COO, about advertising for non-final expense products to just diversify the life insurance business that we submit. So we're probably at some future point going to get involved with term, possibly IUL business. Again, not our specialty, but I think it's something we can market for and then find agents to train them on or already know it and then come in and help us build a training around it. So it's something we're looking at. We're not at the point of saying, boom, we're doing it right now, come join us to sell it. But I would say it's something over the next 6 to 12 months that we may consider it. Hey, Patty, if I'm currently in New York and I will not have New York for DIG Agenecy, can I continue the onboarding for DIG or do I have to be released from my current company? If I'm currently in New York and will not have New York for DIG, yeah, you can continue onboarding. You still have to get the other states that are not New York, if that's what you're asking. If you need to be, if you need me to clarify anything, let me know. Marty? So David, I talked to Marty and he said it's possible to work from Canada with DIG. We checked the requirements for the dialer. So are you an American, Marty? That's the thing. I mean, are you American based? Do you have a residency? Do you have a life insurance license here? Because you can't be not American and sell in America, unfortunately. That's the other question. Okay. David, do you offer training to new bilingual agents in Fillmore? And if so, will it cover most of the life insurance coverage in California? So will it cover most life? We don't do bilingual training. We get bilingual leads sometimes. We have one guy, Juan, who closes them. But they're just kind of random. I'm interested in the Spanish-speaking market, but we don't have a lead system to support it. Not that it doesn't work. We just never tested it. We don't have enough agents that can speak the language. So it's kind of like, does it really work? Quite yet. I'm not opposed to it, but everything is in English. Okay. Is there any monthly fees for using your platform? No monthly fees, just a joining fee. It's $1,500 for the joining fee. You can separate that into multiple payments to make it easier to pay. Beyond that, there's no other fees. Studio. I joined last week and completed phases 1 and 2. I've not received access to Slack or the training. Is there a way to request access? Yes. Email Marty at defordig.com. His email is in the chat studio. Let him know ASAP. He'll help you out. And then if that doesn't work, then you can go to daviddeford.com/contact and message me there. Hey, Lene. Hey, C. Long, you mentioned latency when agents are trying to use dialer overseas. Does dialer work well if agents are using Starlink? Yeah, we had an agent who was in the middle of nowhere on Starlink and had troubles, so I don't know. It's something you can try, but again, I don't want to say for sure, like, yeah, go do it, and I'm not 100% positive. We tell our agents that you've got to have a live connection to your router from your computer. I know it's like, well, you can still have Starlink and have that, but that's the thing. Well, I don't know if you can. I don't know if a Starlink's like a wireless connection to it. You don't want to have a wireless connection from your computer to the router because it's just, there's issues. We've had it many times where agents complain about the quality, and it's because wireless is just inconsistent. You got to have a hardwire connection. But I don't know if it was the wireless connection to Starlink or the fact that there wasn't a hardline connection to it. But we have agents who've complained about Starlink, so I can't, it's kind of unsure of what to tell you there. David, what will be the total monthly expenses of a typical agent with your company? $35 for insurancetoolkits.com. That's it. We don't have a monthly expense when it comes to marketing because we do it all for you. The systems are paid for if you join the free lead program. Either or, Dave or Ron. I've been called worse. Hey, Hinton, how much to get started? $1,500 joining fee. You can break that up into payments depending on what's most convenient for you. Sounds good, Craig. Again, thanks for joining the AMA. If you have questions, just throw them in the chat. Anything insurance, sales, and marketing related. What contract level do you give agents on a free lead program? So, Omar, we start agents, every agent new. For the main product, it's 40%. And based off of production, it can move up to as high as 60%. So to me, it's a good mix of, again, it's lower than what you would get as a broker, but you don't have all the hassle and the expense and the risk that you would get if you were a broker buying leads, the systems, etc. Jay Diaz, what hours do you recommend to work? Yeah, first of all, I recommend that you work 40 to 50 hours a week. More time on task typically leads to more sales success. The other side of it is what hours work best. I mean, we have agents selling at all hours, but I would say definitely the second half of the day, maybe from 12 to 9 o'clock is good, or 2 to 9 or 2 to 10, depending on your time zone. That can be very good. We find that our top producers tend to not work as much between Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, which actually opens up an opportunity for newer agents to come on. So if you're working especially Thursday night into Friday night, those are really good times, and Saturdays are great, even Sundays too. So like this last Sunday, we usually have a couple agents on Sundays working, but it was the 4th of July weekend, right? So we had one agent close one deal, but like we still have fresh leads coming in over the weekends. So if you're on there, you're likely not with other agents, and you're probably going to have more opportunity to work the fresh stuff and work the better leads because there just isn't as many agents sitting there ready for you. So, I mean, if you're willing to work the weird hours, which I would advise you to, recommend to you, just get any opportunity you can as a new agent, then that's a way to make things work a little more in your favor. Patty, hey Patty, I'm confused on the release part of onboarding. I pulled up my PDB report and I'm in the process of resigning from current company, but it shows I'm appointed. Yeah, it's going to show that until you're resigned, so don't worry about it. Maybe we schedule a one-on-one session. If you email Marty, he'll do it. The agency opportunity. Yeah, shoot Marty kind of an overview of who you are, what you're doing, where you're getting your agent recruits from, and we'll kind of tell you kind of if it makes sense to go further. Okay, am I allowed to generate my own leads? No. Hey, Charlie Sheen, I enjoy your work, by the way. No. Why would you? You're getting free leads from us. We don't have a platform for agents who join us to work their own leads. Many times it just doesn't work. I could go into details of why. If you want me to, I can. I've worked with people who have recruited purchased their own leads, generated their own leads since 2013 to about 2024. And it's fraught with all sorts of problems. And so that's why we went to the free lead program, because it takes away the biggest thing that agents screw up on and waste a lot of money on. Doesn't mean it won't work for you. Just usually doesn't for most agents. Do I still just send my current PDB report? Yeah. Yep, and just send that stuff to Marty. I checked with IPR and they said it's possible to sell life from Canada and you have residency address in the U.S., just issues with banking. I don't know if the Canadian bank would be a problem. You can try to call these companies and ask them, hey, can we deposit bank in another country, and see what they say. I've never dealt with that, so I don't know what to say. Hey, Danny, what's an average income for someone who does this 15 to 20 hours per week? Probably $1,500 to $3,000 a month is what I would say if you're selling one policy every 4 hours. Again, trying to be realistic. One of the things, and again, we take part-timers, but again, the rate of learning is just slower for part-timers. So they don't get up to speed as fast as the full-timers. This is okay. It's just something that you have to kind of accept from the get-go. Can you say what is the success rate for new agents for your agency? I don't know what it is. I can tell you some success rate stats. For example, the average close rate for our agency is one sale every 4 hours. So if you're on average, if the total number of hours called was 400, there's going to be 40, right? 100 sales made. Yeah. 1 out of 4, right? Yeah. So our best agents are closing one sale every 2 hours to one sale every 3 hours. So, and the success rate's an interesting thing. There was another video I watched this weekend about kind of some general complaints about the final expense business and the failure rate and the problems that happen. And, the thing is with any business model, there's no perfect business model. There's not a business out there that just is all good and no bad. And if there is, it becomes saturated and then the margins start to shrink and then it's just not a great opportunity. In every business, there's going to be more failures than success, including our agency. Not everybody's a success with us. What we try to promise to the agents is having the platform that will provide the opportunities and the vehicles for success. But ultimately, you got to drive the thing. I'm just a Sherpa. I can show you the way up the mountain and how to climb it, but you got to go step by step, right, to do the mountain climbing. So with that said, where was I going with this? The complaints that I were hearing is like people will load up, they'll start writing business, then they get a bunch of chargebacks, and then they quit. And that definitely happens. But the problem with that, it's less about and so here's where I'm going with this. There are some things with success that are less the agency's fault and more the agent's fault. Like your ability to manage your money. Guys, like the best piece of advice, whether you work for me or somebody else, is save your money, live frugally, build a bankroll. You can go watch all of my content. I say this year over year. This business got easy for me when I had $50,000 in the bank. And I don't do that to flex or brag, but there's something in the psychological state, especially when you're buying leads like I was, spending $1,000+ a week. When you have that much money sitting around, even if you have a bad week, it's okay because you got a lot of money in the bank. But, I had to work to that. I had a bunch of credit card debt, all sorts of problems financially. It took years of carefully managing my money and not being stupid with it or spending it on things I shouldn't. And so if this is your first foray, especially into a full commission opportunity, or you never run your own business, like live well below your means. I have to go Dave Ramsey on y'all. Dave is right. Be cheap. Pork and beans and pork, whatever he says. And because chargebacks are going to happen. So these are people who cancel their policy and then you owe back a portion of the commissions. It's going to happen. And part of the problem that I see that happens is that agents will write a good, like you'll have agents who kind of have the stuff and they'll do everything they say and they write a month or two of good quality business and then they enjoy themselves a little, take some time off, and then they start having people cancel. And then they psychologically start to get stressed. They start to question what they're doing. Whereas in the beginning, they just did it and they should probably just continue to do it. And then they start to lose their composure and there's this like circling the bull effect takes place. This is more in line, I think, with the broker agent that's buying their own leads and financing their own system, because psychologically, when you're outlaying $5,000 or $6,000 a month for what it takes to do this business right, and you have a bad week or month, it's very depressing. And it's a performance-based activity. It's just like a sport. Like if you're playing basketball and you break your, or like Tiger Woods when his wife clubbed out his, vehicle. He never was very successful at golf after that. I don't know if his marriage problems caused it, but, stuff like that causes, you have to take this stuff seriously. So it's part of the reason we do the free lead program, because it minimizes a lot of these risks. Doesn't eliminate them, but it minimizes them. And part of this business is just surviving. But long story short, no, not everybody succeeds. The minority are always the ones that are successful. In any sales organization, including ours, the Pareto principle applies. It's the 80-20 rule. Like 80% of the business is written by 20% of the agents. With us, last year, it was 17% of the agents wrote 67% of the business. And that's just how it is. There's not a sales organization that averages tremendously above average commissions, or everybody succeeds. It's just not how straight sales is. And what you need to, here's where I'm coming with this. I'm kind of meandering, but there's a lot here that's really important. You bring up a good point. The last thing I'll say about this is that what you guys need to be thinking about getting started in this business is, how can I not be a statistic? If you've heard my content, Cody's, Peter's, Dana's, 90% plus of the agents out there fail. It's true, within their first 12 months. And you need to be thinking about, well, how can I not be a statistic? And there's an element of talent that's involved, but it's less about talent. It's more about mindset. It comes back full circle to what I talked about earlier. It's mindset and commitment. I've always just been an above average agent. I'm like a B minus to B agent. I've never been a hardcore closer, like A plus agent, alpha style, closes anything that walks in front of them type of person. But the thing that I did better than anybody else in my tenure as an agent from 11 to 17 full time is I never quit. I always went to work. I was always putting in more time than everybody else. And I made up for my lack of talent. I'm talented, but not like amazingly talented, by just going to work every day, no matter what, even after bad days. I did not let things get in the way. And that's how a lot of you I would suggest that you think about this business. You need to outwork the competition. You need to trust in the process and go all in. Because not everybody's going to be super talented. But you can make up for that to some extent by the level in which you're committed and apply yourself and control yourself too. All right. Hey, Sherry, am I allowed to come back to DIG? Yeah, sure. Absolutely. We have a prodigal agent program. I don't know if you saw Wendy. Wendy went to another company at the end of 2024, and she came back recently, writing good business. And we have a number of other agents who did the same thing. So no harm, no hard feelings. Happy to have you back. Go ahead and shoot me an email. I'm sure you got my email. If you don't, let me know. And then we'll see about getting restarted. You're welcome, Patty. Can the 2,000 be broken down to smaller payments? So it's 1,500, Dario. And yes, it can be. I think the minimum is 300 a month. Is 12,000 per month an income a realistic expectation? That's probably the top 5%, if not top 3% of agents. If you're brand new and you don't know anything, no, I wouldn't say that's realistic. It's something to strive for. And it's hard to say, like, I know it's possible, right? It's easy for me to say, yeah, you can do that because I've been there and I've done it, applied it. I've seen other people who have. But for most, it's not realistic, at least in the beginning. It can become realistic if you apply yourself consistently more than the other 90% of agents out there. Does the agent get renewal commissions? You get paid the first year commission. You get advanced, typically 75%, the back 25%. As long as you're active, you'll get paid on that too as well, months 10, 11, 12, but there's no renewal commissions in years 2 through 10. Monty, if I get licensed in 6 states, ask the companies DIG works with for banking and making sure Convosa works here in Canada. Yeah, you should be fine. You're welcome, Sherry. Okay. Any last questions here? Anybody have any final questions? Oh yeah, hit the like button, please, if you haven't already. That'll help share this video across the YouTube platform to other agents who might be interested in selling insurance and maybe need some advice, some perspective. I appreciate it. Appreciate you doing so. So again, last call here. If you got any questions, we're at the 44 minutes after the hour. Happy to spend the next 16 minutes with you. If you got questions, throw the questions in the chat. Hey, NCC. I think that is hey, Dean. Yeah, good to see you again. It's NCC 1701. Yes, Star Trek. Of course, the Enterprise. My favorite Star Trek, of course, is The Next Generation. Highly recommend if you are under the age of 30 and you've never seen Star Trek The Next Generation with Captain Jean-Luc Picard to watch those shows. My favorite ones are, I forget the names of them, but there's a couple. It's a very good show. Love it. I'm starting to, it's funny, when I was in the field, what you notice with your senior clients is that they sit on the shows and they watch all the old stuff. They watch Gunsmoke. They watch, All in the Family, all these shows when they were kids. And I remember sitting around watching TV a couple years ago, and I'm like, man, I'm watching Star Trek. Like, I used to watch that when I was like 12 or 13, all the same episodes. So I guess that's what happens when you get older. You just watch the same crap. Thank you, Yemi. Hey, NCC, quick question, please. I'm beginning training. How many monitors? Oh, good question. 2 or 3. So you need more visual real estate to handle the quoter, the dialer, the CRM, the script. So at least have 2, if not 3. Hey, Charlie, thank you for answering my questions. Wasn't expecting the clarity. I'm sorry if I rambled on, but I try to overindulge people with a detailed answer than underindulge. So if there's any confusion, I apologize. I've just had my license for 3 months now, and I'm really trying to make the right. Yeah. And that's why I try to answer more than you want to hear, because what the norm is in this business, y'all, is you join an agency and it's an MLM. They're going to require you to recruit. Your upline probably has very little experience. They really don't value sales training or really care much about you. And it ends up being a real shitty experience, pardon my French. And I don't want to replicate that in my agency. I'd rather you know too much than too little. There's no way you can be 100% sure with full clarity about everything, but you want to approach that number as much as possible. Years ago, there was one company named that starts with an F and ends with an L. Man, they used to have a bunch of videos out there talking about people getting scammed, buying what they thought were fresh leads were actually just names in the phone book, and people just getting screwed left and right. And while I say that, they also write probably more business than anybody else. So they've had successful producers, but a lot of people were screwed in the process because they weren't told the whole truth. And so, I don't want agents to join my agency who don't understand how it works and what the details are and who's a good fit for and who isn't. Hey, Nick, we don't have renewals. It's just you get paid the first year commission. That's it. Now, if you move to a broker, typically the renewals are between 3% and 8%, depending on your first year commission. If you really want renewals, Nick, sell Medicare ACA. I wouldn't advise it necessarily right now because the market's a little tougher, but those are renewal-based companies that are going to pay something much more significant than final expense. We pay C-Long twice a month. If we, the agency, got paid on a case you wrote and the payment to us occurred between the 1st and the 15th, you'll get paid on the 22nd. And then likewise, between the 16th and the end of the month, you'll get paid by the 7th. So there's 2 pay cycles. There's 6, Peter. If you go to daviddufour.com, watch that overview video. We talk about which ones that you need to buy. So $1,500 covers everything, including leads in the CRM. We get a 50% payout, 40% hitting. If you go to daviddufour.com, watch the overview video. We talk about the commissions and plainly lay them out so you know what to expect. What it does not cover is it's a joining fee. So you're not paying for anything other than the joining fee. And you get everything else for free. So the CRM, there's no cost. There's no cost of the leads. The only fee that you would pay is to insurancetoolkits.com. They do the underwriting and quoter, and that's $35 a month. Cancel anytime. Sounds good, Dean. Thank you, Glayla. Appreciate you. Hey, David. What type of PC system do you recommend? Yeah, I mean, just something, just a modern PC. You don't want the IBM 486 SX, with the Sound Blaster 16 card that only plays Doom. You got to be 40 to understand that description. But in all seriousness, if you've bought a computer over the last couple of years, it's fine. Nothing is super tech heavy. It is internet heavy with the dialer, which is why I mentioned hardwire. As far as multiple monitor hookups, typically the computer should allow for multiple ones. You may be able to get like an HDMI split to do multiple monitors. At least can do 2, if not 3. Keith, my firm is big on working my warm market and referrals, but I want to explore social media marketing and buying leads. What do you recommend in both of those areas? So who do you work for, Keith? Because the problem, if you work for like a New York Life, first of all, they won't let you do social media marketing, as far as I remember, because of the potential branding issues. And the other problem is if you're buying leads, and you're on like a New York lifestyle commission grid, it's just not worth it. Like there's other companies like American Income Life. Last I checked, they were paying 50, 55%. It makes no sense financially to buy leads because you're just not going to convert enough to pay the cost of the leads out of the commissions you earn. Northwestern Mutual, yeah. So you're probably in a similar boat as New York Life. The only thing I would suggest is you could do social media marketing, but I think you need to check your compliance person. Social media marketing is great, but they're probably going to restrict your ability to talk specifically about Northwestern. They probably won't want to be mentioned, but you could talk about like in general, like, hey, I do insurance. Here's how these products work, blah, 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 blah. You can do stuff like that, and that can work. In the limited ways that I've seen it work is it takes 6 or 12 months of consistent posting and reminding and educational content like on a Facebook page of yours before you start getting people interested. So it's a longer game. Thanks, Peter. Patty, do I have to have my current company sign the release form? If you're moving carriers over, you do. If you want to tell me which company it is, I can tell you if they will release you. But yeah, you ultimately have to say, hey, sorry, it's not going to work out. The average AP per policy for final expense right now, it floats between $900 and $950 for us. It just, a lot of it depends on states that you work. You know, if you work in like California, to an extent Florida, the case sizes are bigger because the incomes are higher. But that's about average. Hey, Keith, thank you. Appreciate it. Any last questions here? And then we'll wrap it up. Again, if you guys are interested in learning more about the DIG Agency, just go to daviddufour.com. I want to share a couple of useful links to you that you may not have. Of course, shamefully plugging my company, the DIG Agency. Go to daviddufour.com to learn more about that. Watch the video at the top. It explains things very thoroughly. You can see case studies of successful agents with us. You can also join a live Q&A call. We usually host them 4 or 5 times a week, so make sure you check it out. Also, and you'll see how you can register for that on the same page. I also have a free training site. It's called the Insurance Sales Success Forum. And if you go to daviddufour.com/ISS, you can sign up for a free account. We have deep dive trainings on Medicare, final expense, annuities, and ACA. We have my books for free there in ebook format. There's a forum to communicate with other agents. Let's see what else is there. There's all sorts of great training. There's my seminar marketing mastery program. I used to sell that for $1,000. It teaches you how to find seminar marketing opportunities. That's totally for free. Why do I do it? Because I love giving stuff away for free. It builds my relationships with you. And hopefully if you're looking for an agency and you realize, hey, I want to join somebody I trust that actually wants to help and isn't trying to always take money from me, maybe you'll think of us. So check that out at daviddufour.com/ISS. Okay, you don't need a release from them. National Income Life doesn't have the carrier, so you can just like walk away. You can just disappear. You can never talk to them again. They'll bug you and ask you if you're going to come back. Or you can just call the home office and say, hey, I want to terminate my contract. But most importantly, yeah, you don't need to get a release. You just need to terminate your contracts. And maybe just walking away is fine. Because you're not moving like American Amicable or these other carriers. I have to pay for each state, right? Yes, you do. Yep, correct. It's probably about $500 in total for the 6 states. Prince, does the joining fee include getting... No, that's separate. So it's $1,500 joining fee. You can break it up into payments. And then it's $500 for licensing. You don't have to get that up front, though. You can start with the joining fee, get into the training, go through the script, all of the training that we have, and then you can pick up the licensing closer to the date that you're ready to get on the dialer and start if you need kind of some time to pay for everything. So you don't have to drop a big bunch of money up front. Okay. Well, I thank everybody here for being here. I hope you enjoyed this training. We will be back next week, Monday, for another live Ask Me Anything training session. If you have any other questions, throw them in the comments below on the video. You can also send us a message at daviddufour.com/contact. Go to that page, scroll to the very bottom, and we'll be happy to send you a message. Okay, perfect. Sounds good, Patty. Looking forward to working with you. All right, y'all. Thanks again for being here. See you. Yeah, it's 15 now. It's 15 policies in the first 30 days on the phone. And if you can get those and they're paid and issued, then we'll give you $1,500. All right.